I mean, he's only got, what, one fumble this year so far, so he's getting better there. Joe Judge, I enjoyed him. I mean, we had our little run-in early on, but I enjoyed it. He has a reasoning for why he does everything a certain way. Only thing I question is the conditioning. The conditioning can be a little bit too much, and guys start getting soft tissue injuries. I mean, this is a 17-game season now. That is long. And before you can even get over your soreness from last game, you're practicing. So I would chill on that. But you got to set your guys up. Like, you have Kenny Golladay, like, he can go get the ball. You had, you know, Shep, who's been, you can move him all over the place. You got Evan
Presented
Ingram.
By Old Trapper Beef Jerky.
You got Saquon.
Let's go to the NFC East.
Yeah, you got all these players.
I mean, Kay and Nate and I once were in the upper rafters.
You have the players. So you need to put them in situations to be successful.
That sounds like an offensive coordinator issue to me. Jason Garrett is a guy who's an NFL Coach of the Year 5 years ago as their coordinator. What's his deal? Is he holding his weight?
I think he could be better. I mean, look, Jason has amazing stories.
Dak Prescott, terrible injury last time he was in the stadium during the offseason. His girlfriend would touch one of his toes, and he would have to tell her which toe it was.
I don't understand
really
why.
dark, but he never gave
The Giants
up hope. And look what we've got
points,
now. CD Lamb,
you know, for
CD
2 years, you know, a year last year, and then
remember when CD
part of this year.
Burners came on? You can make a mixtape on a compact disc. It's like magic. Gold, did you do that?
So I don't know what the issue is, but
touchdown. There's your mixtape right up the middle.
You watch the Giants on a Sunday, and you hear all those names, say, we gotta go. And then you're like,
hold on a second.
It looks so fun. What the Arizona Cardinals do, it looks so fun. Why can't we be them? And it's not just this year. Look at this statistic. I saw this yesterday.
What'd you see, Peter?
Worst teams
and do the finger
since
point, whatever that is.
2017 in the
hunting.
NFL.
Anybody have any intel on that? Eagles fans tweet us.
The
worst, 32?
name worst. And it's bad penalties, bad clock management, bad challenges, bad turnovers, bad timeout management. And they can't seem to ever put a defensive stop together when it matters. So, Golden, I'm with you. They've got stars, and maybe it is a Jason Garrett thing, but it is a organizational thing right now. They can't get out of their own way. Got owners throwing trash cans, and then we've got, you know, players making excuses, and then you got people barking on the sidelines. This is not Giants football, and guess what? Maybe Giants football is kind of a stupid thing in itself. How about just win some games and not worry about the past and what tradition and legacy and all that? But get fired up, because
what do you got?
Talk about it.
But what I will say is, if you look at the Giants last year, towards the end of the season, I mean, Wayne Gallman was running for, you know, 75 to 100 yards. Like, I think like the last 5 games, they were running the ball, or we were running the ball very well, which opened it up, and we were able to score a little bit better, move the ball down the field a little bit better. So I think if you think about Jason Garrett, he comes from Dallas, and when Dallas was at their best is when their running game was unstoppable.
0-3. They're 0-3, and they've got Saquon Barkley instead of Wayne Gallman. So, I mean, that makes sense out here, but...
Right, so you got to get your running game going, and I don't know how you got to do it, but
it's frustrating.
Get the running game going, and then Daniel's he's gonna be good for, you know, 3 or 4 rushes for explosive plays.
You like subscribe to him. Daniel Jones has it.
I think he does have it. I think, I mean, he has all the measurables. I mean, he can run, he can throw, he's smart.
Put it together.
Like,
it's not going to get any easier.
I don't know. Should we give him a little bit more freedom? Like, when he sees something that he really, really likes, to be able to, like, hey, look, give me this or give me that or whatever. I mean, maybe, I don't know, but something needs to happen, because they have players, and the Giants organization is such an amazing organization, and the fan base is so amazing. Like, they deserve to win. Like, I mean, growing up, I loved the Giants, loved them. I mean, yeah, who didn't? And the way I see them then and now, obviously, is totally different. So I want to see them back to what they used to be. I mean, just dominating week in and week out. And I think you have some good young players. I mean, and on the defensive side, you brought in some guys. You know, I love Logan. I mean, he's the leader, but where it's going to be tough, they lost Blake. They lost Blake. And
Blake Martinez.
Was out for the entire year with a torn ACL. Wishing him all the best. We'll have more on the Giants with Golden Tate in a bit. We'll bring in Mike Garafolo now to give us some of the headlines this morning. Obviously, a rough start for the Giants. Any changes coming in New York to the point of everything that we're saying? And then hook me up with an update on one Christian McCaffrey.
Yeah, not right now, Kay. I long for the days where my Giants fan friends ask me about how do you think our team fares? What do you think we're going to do this weekend? Versus asking me at every turn, when are they going to fire the offensive coordinator, the GM? I mean, this team just has not been competitive for a long time now, and it's disappointing because I thought more of them. Peter Schrager certainly thought more of them so far this season. They still think more of themselves. When I talk to people over there, based on what Judge said yesterday about, quote, there's a lot of things we need to clean up coaching-wise, execution-wise, but we're going to stay on the track with it. That's play calling, and make sure we get those things right before we make any radical changes. They still feel like they're close. They still feel like they're losing games because of correctable mistakes, not because of scheme. And that is why they're going to stick with Jason Garrett right now calling the plays. I know everybody sees Freddie Kitchens, who did a really good job of calling plays at one point, being an offensive coordinator at one point for the Cleveland Browns. He is on their staff. However, Judge sticking with Jason Garrett for the time being. The problem is they've dug themselves a hole right now. They've got 3 undefeated teams left in their schedule, and none of those teams is the Buccaneers and the Chiefs, who they face on the road in prime time later in the year. So they really have their work cut out for them if they think they're going to turn this around. As for Christian McCaffrey, he will not go on injured reserve for the Carolina Panthers. They said that yesterday. There is hope he'll be back within the 3-week window, but there's no guarantee. Just because he's not going on IR doesn't mean that he's for sure going to play in the next 3 weeks. It's just the Panthers saying, well, we don't really want to put him there and know that he's going to be down for 3 weeks, because then we can't bring him back if he is ready. And also, what does that do mentally to your team when they know, hey, we're definitely without this guy for the next couple of weeks? So they'll hope that this minor hamstring strain will heal up in time for McCaffrey to get on the field in the next couple of weeks.
Chuba Hubbard, meanwhile, had 14 touches, 79 yards. When Christian McCaffrey exited that game, pick him up on waivers. Talking to you, Golden Tate, helping you with your fantasy team. And we'll see what that Panthers defense can do to maybe stop.
We'll be joined by Dan Hansis. But first, let's take a look at his Week 4 Power Rankings on NFL.com. We always do this with a theme, and since our friend is here today, let's do it with a theme of golden. Ooh. Golden. Let's first go to the Golden Globes tier. I miss Ricky. I really do. I ain't the same without him. The Jets sitting up at 32. Jacksonville looking for a chance to climb out of there tomorrow night against the Bengals. And then the Giants. Oh, Peter, you were saying it last segment. Giants football. Bears 29. All right, moving on to the un-Golden Pond division to satisfy the octogenarian set. Bottom right corner, Washington having a real problem, got blown out by the Bills. Patriots in front of Super Bowl 55.5 this week at 23. Then you got your Eagles, Dolphins. Bengals over there at 2-1 at 19, above the Steelers and Saints. Now, moving on to the Golden Tee division. IPA bros crow hopping and blowing out their shoulder, trying to drive it 400 yards. Bottom, upper left corner. Vegas Raiders at 9. Chargers also in the AFC West at 10. Then your Cardinals, Broncos. God, the AFC West is loaded. Panthers undefeated at 13. Cowboys last night 14. Titans, and then Vikings. And finally, let's move on to the Golden Eye division, not the movie. The N64 cartridge pistol stack.
He still got the Chiefs top 8, huh?
He still has them there. All right, Rams, Bucks, Packers, Bills. Peter's talking about the Chiefs at number 6. He says they're better than the Niners and the Browns, but not quite the Ravens, who they actually lost to. So much to talk about, so let's get him in here. Dan Hansis, the man behind the power. Good morning, Dan. How are you feeling?
Good morning. And if you were in college in the late 90s, it was so annoying. Every dorm room you went into, golden eye. You know, go out, get a life, kids.
Screen goes red. Man, the screen does not go red for the Rams. They are the #1 spot for the Buccaneers after their head-to-head victory in Week 3. Are you, Dan Hansis, giving more credit to the Matthew Stafford-Sean McVay connection or the defensive prowess shown against Tampa's rushing game? What do you think?
I don't know if Tampa really has a rushing game, and that's not to take nothing away from what Los Angeles did on defense, but Tom Brady threw for over 400 yards. So I will focus on the offensive side of the ball. And this whole Matthew Stafford revitalization project, sometimes we talk ourselves, and you guys know it because you have to do so many hours every week in the summer, you talk yourself till you're blue in the face with these narratives and these storylines and these hypotheticals, and then they all look so dumb by Week 3, but not in this case. This has absolutely worked out perfectly, this marriage between Sean McVay and Matthew Stafford, and they just have so many playmakers, and Cooper Kupp, I think, is the guy that really jumps out to you as an all-pro potential talent this year. But Deshaun Jackson, we don't know how long we're going to have him because it always seems to last a couple of weeks and then he disappears till next September, but let's enjoy him while he's here because he still moves like he's 23.
Crushing it at the age of 34. Dan Hansis joining the show.
Hey,
Let's talk about the Chiefs. They dropped to number 6. Hey, shock, horror. Chiefs at 6. They fell to the Chargers. I want to ask you what the biggest obstacle is that they need to overcome on offense. Don't just say limit the turnovers. What do you got, Dan? Give me something.
Yeah, because the turnovers stink, and they had 3 of them that blew up their game plan on Sunday, and the Clyde Edwards-Helaire fumble on Sunday night, that stunk. But, all that stuff you think they're going to get ironed out, and it feels more fluky. The real problem is that division. I mean, the Raiders are 3-0, Broncos 3-0, Chargers are 2-1. We'll see about the Broncos, whether they're legit or not. But the Raiders obviously are, and the Raiders gave the Chiefs all they could handle last year. So this is not going to be a cakewalk to 13-4. The Chiefs are going to be slugging it out all year in this division, and they're just going to have to be sharper than they have been.
Dan the man, how you doing? It's Golden Tate.
What's up? What's up,
Nice
Golden?
to see you.
How are you? Nice to see you.
Good. You don't sound.
Are we
too
friends
happy.
now? This is great.
Anyways.
What's up?
Anyways, my question is, you now have the entire AFC West in your top 12 teams. The Raiders are ranked number 9, and the Broncos are ranked at number 12. Are we getting a little too overexcited about these two teams based on their strength of schedule?
No. Well, the Raiders, no. I think the Raiders have beaten some good teams, and they deserve to be in the top 10, even though if I kind of begrudgingly bump them in there, because what you're saying, it holds some water. We want to see this over a longer stretch. We've seen how they've faded in past Decembers the last 2 years, but so far, so great for the Raiders. The Broncos are a totally different case, and, Kyle teed this up by showing the full rankings. The Broncos have beaten the Giants, Jaguars, and Jets in the first 3 weeks. Those are teams 30, 31, and 32 in the power rankings. So they have Baltimore at Pittsburgh, Vegas at Cleveland coming up. We're about to see what they're really all about. But you can only play your schedule and all that, and they have played it very well. Now they got to beat some decent teams. Bad teams are beating, not okay teams, bad teams.